You can do the same thing with with commercial crews. You can switch to like the Isuzu box trucks or the 350 Chevy GMC type truck with the box on the back of it. Isuzu's got the MPRs and the FSR. The MPR is the smaller truck. That's the one I would be using. And you can customize that interior bed or the interior box so you can drive your riders up into it so you can lock everything down. Those are and then you've got your own moving little warehouse. In the spray side of the business, fertilization and weed control, we think about the same things, the same efficiencies. We want backup tanks on our truck. We want big enough tanks that we can send a truck out and not have them constantly come back for water, or constantly be filling up at a residential or commercial property for water. We want enough tanks that we can send our trucks out, enough volume where we can hold enough gallons of water of mix so that we can go out and perform a day's worth of work and come back. We want redundant pumps. We want a place to store fertilizer safely. We want our $400 fertilizer spreaders locked down so they can't be stolen off the truck. We want our chemicals locked up so nobody can walk up and grab a bottle of MSMA or some other chemical off our truck. We want our tank lids locked down so that if they're sitting outside of one of our office buildings, somebody can't come dump Roundup in them. We want protection. We want safety. When you want to minimize risk, you want to think through all that stuff. So thinking through it ultimately results in probably Isuzu type trucks as you get bigger that are locked down. They result in custom beds for your trucks. That results in having a system to lock the equipment on your truck if it's in an open bed. Some way to lock down those stick edgers and weed eaters and blowers. We've had some pretty big dollar losses. And one of our most recent losses involved stealing a locked up truck and all the equipment on, including a $9,800 Skag. And all the equipment, everything was stolen. And so theft is a real problem in this business. Injury is a real problem. Car wrecks, these are all real problems. So you really want to think through, how can I minimize all of those risks? So I personally want to get rid of trailers completely. Not completely doable, but we've got rid of them to a large degree. I want all my equipment locked down and protected. I want it stored in a box. When my stuff's at my offices, I want it locked down, protected. We have video cameras at our offices around everything. We have $135 locks on everything. Not the little locks that you can drill through or cut through. Still, even with all that, everything's not perfect. There's still risk, but we do everything we can to mitigate that risk. And we do everything we can to mitigate the harm or risk of any of our staff. So those are the things you want to be conscious about. So I deviated a little bit from the question, but when you're talking about setting up trailers and you're setting up trucks, that's what you want to think about. Try to eliminate those trailers if you can. And then with your trucks, try to think about efficiency and how your equipment's going to fit into the truck so that you or your teams can be getting in and out of the properties as fast as possible. You don't want to be using bungee cords on everything. You want things to be fast. You want them to have a spot. You want organization. You want some level of cleanliness. You don't want anything loose in the trailer that if there's a wreck, a lawnmower goes flying. Those are the things that are critically important. The accidents and risks the accidents and damage doesn't happen very often, but when it happens, because it does, you want to make sure it's as minimal as possible. You don't want anybody losing a finger. You don't want anybody getting killed. You don't want any of those things that could completely ruin your business and hurt someone else's life. So all that needs to be considered when you're buying your trailers and you're buying your truck beds and you're putting all of that together. Now, when you're first getting started, going out and buying an Isuzu MPR with a box and having it customized, or buying that perfect fertilization weed control truck or that perfect pest control truck, it's a little bit out of the question. When we started, our first spray truck was literally a Ford Ranger with a Ford F-150 with a V6 engine, an 8-foot bed with a Lesco tank and pump on it. And we pulled that 8-foot trailer, that's what I meant to say, 8-foot trailer around with the Lesco tank on, 200-gallon tank on it. We pulled that around behind our F-150 because we didn't have enough accounts. And then when we weren't using it, that F-150 was out trimming bushes. And then when we were spraying, we hooked it back up and we pulled it around. It wasn't the most professional setup, but it was the most cost-effective one to get into with zero debt. Nobody there was nobody that ever didn't hire us because of it. Nobody ever fired us because of it. That's how we got started. Then we made some money, and then we became more efficient. Then we designed a better system. And that's how it progresses. You start out kind of small. It's not perfect. You make some money. You figure out how to do things right. Then you get better. So that's how you want to think about it. And that, initially you probably can't build custom beds for your trucks, but you can buy some trailers and be conscientious about how you set those trailers up, and then you can improve as you go. So hopefully that's helpful.